Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing another sit down video, another Let's Talk episode, and it's been a long time since we've done a Let's Talk and I've missed them. Anyway, I have a lot to say today, so I'm not going to drag out this intro too much, but let me just tell you what we're going to be talking about today. So I have done a how to be confident and confidence related videos in the past, and I've had a lot of people kind of ask for, or like, specific things that you can do, you can implement into your lifestyle, into your like daily routines and things that are going to help start that journey of trying to improve your confidence. So what I've done is I have created a list of, I think it's about 11 things, an awkward number, I know, it was meant to be 10, but then I thought of another one and I was like, yeah, it needs to be 11. 11 things that you can do, kind of like daily habits in a way. So we're going to start because I have a lot to say. So let's roll the intro. Mwah. So the first one is one you've probably heard a little bit about before, and that is spoken and written affirmations. Guys, the power of these is insane. I sort of mean talking to yourself as you would want other people to talk to you. Everything that you want to hear, everything that you want to believe about yourself, you're going to tell yourself. Spoken affirmations, I think, are extra effective when you do them looking at yourself in the mirror. It's going to sound weird, but just bear with me. Look yourself in the mirror and look yourself dead in the eyes. Straight, literally stare yourself down, yeah? Stare yourself down. And I want you to encourage yourself, hype yourself up, compliment yourself. Everything that you would want to hear, all of that external validation you may seek from other sources, I want you to give it to yourself. Say it to yourself and believe it. It's kind of like a fake it till you make it sort of situation, because you don't necessarily believe everything you're saying. You want to believe it though. Everything that you are saying to yourself, they're all things that you want to believe about yourself. And it's kind of like law of attraction, kind of like manifesting it a little bit. It's like what you say and what you believe goes. So when you say these things to yourself repetitively, right, and you're consistent with it, if you let's say you do this like every morning when you start your day, you kind of tailor make your own affirmations. The more you say it, eventually you'll realize that you will actually start to believe it and you will start to feel it. It sounds mad, but try it. I promise you it will work. I think that's something we need to remember is the power of our thoughts. And that's something that's going to come up quite a bit in this video because I feel like this is something that ties into a lot of things. If you think about it, confidence is it's a concept. It's a mental concept, right? It's not quantifiable. You can't physically own confidence. It's all about how you think and the way you make your mind work. If you think of it like that, the way you think in regards to your confidence is crucial. It's the most important thing. It's essentially what the whole thing is. There's a phrase, a quote, I don't know the exact word for word, but it's along the lines of, if you say you can do it, you're right. If you say you can't do it, you're right. And that kind of blows my mind because it's so true. Whatever you believe is what it is. And it's literally that. If you believe you are confident, you are confident. But I understand it's a journey. It's not as simple as that. But sometimes it can start off being that simple. As you keep doing this repetitively, you will start to notice a difference. In terms of written affirmations, I would kind of do this more at night, but I mean, you can kind of tailor it however you want. But I would sort of do this at night, in the evenings, whether you want to journal, whatever. Just bullet point, it can be the same affirmations that you speak to yourself, or it can be something a little bit different. You just want to kind of reinforce those things. And sometimes writing it out can be really helpful. Just like speaking it out loud is good, writing it is also really good. So they're two things I would definitely recommend trying. Number 2 is write a list of everything you like about yourself and keep rereading it and keep adding to it. So it doesn't have to be like really complicated, big things. It can literally be as simple as, I like my hair color, I like the way I handle conflict. It can be anything, whether it's, physical attributes of yours, personality, like mindset, anything. Literally anything you can think of that you like about yourself. Write it down. But the key is you want to keep reading it. You want to keep reading it and keep adding to it. And what's going to happen is gradually over time, you're going to start to feel more confident in yourself. And you're going to kind of big yourself up a little bit because you're constantly reading like positive reinforcements about yourself. Like it's like constantly being shown that love. When you get those compliments, when you know how people say like, oh, I'm not going to tell you this because it's going to make your head big. Like, I'm not trying to make your head big. Obviously, that's because in the past, or what is notorious for what happens in these situations is when a person is complimented so much, they get a big ego, they get a big head, right? In the same way, if you give yourself all that love that you feel like you need, all the things about yourself which are so positive, if you keep reading it and you keep getting that positive reinforcement, it's going to make you feel good. It's going to affect your ego. It's going to affect your confidence. And that's what we're trying to do, right? You're trying to feel more confident in yourself, but you don't need it from that external source. You just need to give it to yourself. And there is literally nothing stopping you from giving it to yourself. Sometimes all it actually takes is something as simple as that to start us shifting our perspective with how we see ourselves. Because that's what this is all about, right? It's just changing the way that you view yourself. And I think something that we all do is naturally, as humans, we fixate so much on everything we're lacking, everything we're not good at, all of the things we classify as our weaknesses, all the things we don't have, and it's just so negative. It's such a negative habit to get into, but it's something that we all naturally do all the time. But the point is, if you can say negative things about yourself, you can also say positive things. And the negative things can be so damaging to constantly be telling yourself and hearing from yourself. So in the same way, think about how positive it can be when you tell yourself all the good things. Think about how often you put yourself down, how often you say something or feel something about yourself which is subpar. Think about how often you slate yourself for what you don't have, what you could be better at, but how often do you actually big yourself up? How often do you actually reflect on the things that you are amazing at and the positive traits that you have and say, you know what, I am so good at this? Because naturally we don't do that. We're drawn to the things that we don't have, that we're not good at. And that's what we fixate on. And we need to completely shift that. It needs to move to the complete other direction. Focus on the things you're great at. Accentuate that, emphasize that. Like, that is what you need to put your mental energy towards. Okay, number 3 is do something every day that makes you feel empowered. Empowered, guys. Key word, empowered. So when I say that, yeah, it can be as simple as wearing a bit of colour to your outfit that day. It could be wearing a bra that makes you just feel good. It could be listening to a podcast, which is maybe motivational. It could be listening to, listening to a proper like boss bitch kind of playlist. Like, I know this is a bit different, but when I listen to drill and I'm walking down the street, the way I walk down the street, totally different to when I'm listening to like Adele or something. Like it changes things, right? So whatever it is, whether it's music, whether it's the way you style and dress yourself, whatever it is, do something every day that makes you feel empowered. And that's going to be different for everyone. It's just something that kind of gives you that buzz and makes you feel good about yourself and kind of like makes you, just chin up a little bit. Anything that makes you feel like that or feel motivated to act like that or be like that, do at least one of those things every day. Number 4, similar but also totally different, do something every day that scares you. So I know this is the kind of thing which is thrown around quite a bit, like, oh yeah, you should do something every day that scares you. But bear with me, like, let me explain. So as much as we hate this one, it's true, it's important. So for example, let's take, if you hate public speaking, yeah, loads of people dislike public speaking. If you hate public speaking, you will feel a lack of confidence to do with anything that is anywhere similar to or related to public speaking. It's kind of like it becomes your own personal taboo. It's like it has, whether you realize it or not, whether you want to admit it or not, it has some kind of hold over you because you have a fear of it and you may consciously or subconsciously try to dodge it and avoid it. Like in terms of your daily life, right? You may do whatever it takes to avoid kind of facing that thing that you have a fear of. So the more we avoid them, the more hold they actually have over us and the less confident we're going to feel in ourselves because there's this thing that's kind of like growing. Imagine it in your mind, it's kind of like growing and it's a negative thing. It's something that you constantly avoid, but through doing that, it's actually affecting the way that you see yourself in general. So if you bear with me, if you try to eliminate those things, try to just reduce the amount of hold that thing that you're afraid of has over you, you're gonna then start passing those mental barriers you've created in your head. And when you pass that thing, the confidence you feel is crazy. It's crazy. It's kind of like, what's the thing? There's no reward without risk, or something like that. The bigger the obstacle, the better you're going to feel when you've overcome it. And in the same way, that relates to your confidence. Because something that makes you feel so low, something that you feel pushes you down, it's like a constant pressure on you, pushing you down. When you push that off of you and you get out, you're going to feel incredible. You're going to feel so strong, so powerful, so confident. Like, everything that you're trying to feel, everything that you want to feel, you're going to feel, because you've overcome that thing that you personally have such a strong obstacle with. Like, that is your barrier, right? And when you overcome that, listen, the confidence will be different. And the best thing is, when you've proven to yourself that there's even one thing that you were able to push past, you're going to know that, and you're going to remember that when it comes to the future. Whenever you're faced with something again in the future, which is something that normally, like, you are fearful about, anything that you try to avoid, anything that makes you feel less than, you're going to know that you've overcome that thing in the past, so you can overcome this one too. Number 5 is consciously improve your body language and your posture. So, for example, you want to have your shoulders back, your chest out, chin up, all the things that you associate with confidence when you see a person, right? So what makes you determine if a person is confident or not when you don't know them and you just see them across the street, right? It's the way they carry themselves. It's their body language. It's their posture. So in the same way, you need to implement that. And what's going to happen is, not only are those changes going to make other people see you differently, they're going to get a different impression from you. They're going to think, oh, you know what? She's confident. But as well as that, you're genuinely going to start feeling it yourself. It may not be immediate. None of this is going to be overnight. But notice, as you start making those changes, you're going to start to feel exactly how you look. Think about it, yeah? If you're walking around avoiding eye contact when you walk into a room, kind of like hunched over, you're looking down at the floor, you are telling a message to everyone around you who you are. You, whether you mean it to or not, are making a message so clear. You are saying so much with the way you walk into that room. In the same way, if you had like a presentation at uni or at work or whatever, like a presentation you have to give to them, right? If you walk into the room and you start the presentation in that same way, like avoiding eye contact, looking down, you know, speaking quite quietly and keeping quiet to yourself, that is screaming a huge message. People are less likely to listen to you. They're more so expecting you to fail if it's like a school thing. I know it sounds extreme, but it's true. You're expecting them to not do as well. Whereas if that person comes in, and even if they feel the same as the other person, if this person feels exactly how the other person does on the inside in terms of confidence, they don't feel good in themselves, they don't feel good about what they're saying, what they're doing, the rest of the people will not know because of the way they're carrying themselves. If they come in and they're smiling, they're engaging, they're making eye contact, they're doing big, like, open gestures, and they're, you know, they're walking around, they're being sort of sociable with it, they're owning the space. When you do that, you are telling everyone else who you are and how you feel. Like I said, people are more inclined to listen to you, they're going to be more engaged with you, they're going to believe what you're saying. It's actually mad, but they're actually going to believe what you're saying to more of an extent, even if you're saying the same thing as the previous person. Because of the way you're conveying it, the message is going to be drastically different. So, like, for example, yeah, I was kind of like, with presentations, I hated them. You know them presentations in uni and school and stuff, and it's like, oh, like, come to the front of class and talk about da 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 da. I used to hate them. Believe it or not, in school, I was like really quiet. Like, I was quite shy. I've always struggled with confidence. Honestly, I've always struggled with it. And I used to hate having to talk in front of anyone like that. But for some reason, I've always been good at it, but I've hated it. But I've done these kind of things. I've made a conscious effort to be quite bubbly, be quite outgoing with the way that I'm talking, with my gestures, with my whatever. And I ended up doing well at it. But that kind of proved to myself when I was quite young that the way you act and the way you feel don't have to be the same, but they can actually affect your outcome. Because that was a prime example for me, which served me well time and time and time again, to the point where then I used to do public speaking competitions, and I used to do this as like a regular back in my school and things like that, and it became one of my strengths, even though no one knew. To this day, it scares the hell out of me. Like, I get so nervous to the point where I'm gonna vomit, I'm gonna faint, like I don't know how to handle myself, and I will avoid it at all costs, but I'm good at it because I'm consciously making a decision to act a certain way which doesn't reflect the way that I actually feel inside. And eventually, I've noticed that now I don't have to really make a conscious effort to do that anymore. Now when I have to speak in front of people, it comes a lot more naturally because I feel confident about my ability to do that thing. And it's because I've done it so much, and I've kind of faked, in a way, from early, that whole presence, that whole vibe, and now it's kind of become me, it's become part of me, and I'm more confident with it, and I never was before, you know, like it works. Another thing, right, is the way that you have your hair. You're gonna be like, what, the way you have your hair? But it's true. Like, when I was in school, I said how I was like quite shy, right? So when I was in school, I used to always have my hair down, and you know, like when you're at school and you're over your desk, yeah, I used to hunch over my desk and have my hair like down on like the sides, like, never tucked behind my ears. I'd have it out, kind of like curtains on the side of my face, and it was literally like my shield, like my little comfort shield. I felt like I could be invisible with that. I felt like I could be just to myself, and through that, without realizing it, I was conveying a message about the way I felt about myself. I was very insecure about the way that I looked and things at school, and I think everyone knew. If I think back to it now, I think everyone knew that I didn't have that confidence in myself, and I had low self-esteem, because without realizing it, I was actually broadcasting it. So instead, when you want to command that confidence, you want to wear your hair up, wear your hair out of your face, and it makes you feel vulnerable, it makes you feel exposed, but you're sending a message. Just like how you do when you make eye contact, when you have your shoulders back and your chin up and your chest out and you're walking in wide strides, you're telling a message. And as I said, when you tell people that message, you're telling yourself that message too, and you will start to feel it. Number 6 is counteract your negative self-talk and replace it with empowering positive comments. So I touched on this similarly a few points ago, but it deserves its own moment because this can be very powerful. So we all have that voice in our heads, right? We all have our self-critic. I'm overly critical about myself. Like, I am my own worst critic. I'm so hard on myself when it comes to everything, and it actually goes against being productive. It doesn't make me better, it makes me worse, if I'm completely honest. It never serves the purpose that I hope it would. Anyway, point is, we all have that voice, that person that tells us we're not good enough, that person that makes us doubt ourselves or puts us down, right? And it's always the voice inside our heads. That's always who it is and what it is. But what I think people don't realise, I think I've started to see a bit more about this recently, but I still don't think people realise enough that our words to ourselves are so important. The way you talk to yourself can be so damaging, so damaging. We are with ourselves 24/7, right? Think about how often you think things about yourself or you say things in your head about yourself. You're literally hearing that, like you are telling yourself that, you are reinforcing that, you are making that thought become you. It actually does, like, it becomes you. Naturally we do it, yeah. Sometimes, like, I catch myself doing it all the time, and now it's quite funny because I will say something, I'll be like, oh, Debbie, that was so stupid. And then I'll be like, no. And then immediately after I say it, I remember, and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm not supposed to talk to myself like that. And then I'll say, no, you know what? I made a mistake, but I'm going to do things differently next time, and it's all going to be fine. Like, whether you reframe it or whether you just completely replace the thought, you just want to make sure that you're looking at things glass half full when it comes to yourself rather than half empty. So, for example, if you are tall, let's say I'm tall, yeah, because I am tall, so I can relate to this one. You could be like, oh, I hate being tall. Clothes never fit me. It's so difficult to find clothes, which it is, by the way. Dresses, impossible. Trousers, jeans, impossible. Anyway, I digress. So you could easily be like, I hate my height. It's so annoying because I can never shop for myself. But instead of that, try and think about it and find something positive about that instead, and be like, no, actually, do you know what? I love my height and I'm quite blessed with it, because when I go to festivals, when I go to concerts, I can see above everyone. Like, I'm never that person that's like, oh, I can't see. I can see. Like, it's great. So just, it's a simple trick of just kind of like changing. On my days, when I did that, I thought of Friends, you know, unagi. I literally just did that without even realizing it. It's a simple trick to just rewire your thought process and your mindset. And like I said, this is all a trick about how you see yourself, is just the way you trick your mind to think. So in the same way, shifting the perspective is you changing the way you think, and changing the way you think means it's going to affect your whole self-esteem and your whole confidence, because that's literally what it is. Number 7. Okay, I really like this one. This one is when you find yourself in a situation where you know that you would just not have much confidence. A very kind of nerve-wracking situation for you personally, where your self-esteem just goes down. Think of someone you know. You don't need to know them personally, but think of someone who is really, really confident when it comes to this thing. And then you're going to play the role as them. Let me explain. So again, this is kind of like another form of fake it till you make it. But I've been doing this for years when it comes to job interviews, or just interviews in general. So my cousin is the most confident person I have ever met. He is so confident. Like, his confidence is like his identity. Like, he's very, very confident in himself. Like, massively. It's amazing. So what I started to do a few years ago is, when I would go into job interviews, which normally is like, for me, it's a very nerve-wracking situation. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, no. But I know that I can't come off like that. I have to make sure that I assert myself with confidence, and, you know, I take control of the energy and the room, and, you know, all the things you're meant to do. So now what I do is I pretend to be my cousin when I go into interviews. And I don't mean that the way it sounds. I mean, I kind of like try to act like him, but when I act like him, mixed with the way I naturally am and my nerves, it balances out at like a healthy level of just confident, but not cocky, not arrogant, like nothing negative. It just, with me, I found the person I can pretend to be, where I get that balance right, and then I come out exactly how I want to be, and how I probably would be ordinarily, but just not in a setting like that, which is, for me, a nerve-wracking one. So another example is, if you're someone that is self-conscious about the way you look, or like that's an area where you feel like you have low confidence, and if you don't like people looking at you, you don't like that attention and stuff like that, walking into a room which is filled with people is such a daunting prospect, right? But it comes up regularly, and often it's something that we have to do, we have to face. So if you were in that situation, try to think of someone like, I don't know, Beyonce, or someone that you know would walk into the room and just own it, like own their presence, and walk in with that confidence that you aspire to have. Whoever you aspire to be like in terms of the way that they hold that confidence within themselves, think of that person and just try to get yourself into the mindset of, I am them. Like, as you walk in, be like, how would Beyonce walk into this room? Yeah, you know what, I'm gonna do it like that. And walk in like that. Okay, number 8 is meditate. So I know this one is a little bit different to the others, and you guys that watch my stuff a lot will know that I am a big advocate for meditation. But hear me out, because this makes a lot of sense. So obviously, as I've explained, the whole confidence thing is all a mental construct. It's the way that you think about yourself, and that then affects the way that you act, the way you behave, etc. So think of it as, if you are constantly, you know, speaking negatively to yourself, if you are going down that kind of wormhole of just negative self-talk, or low self-esteem, or just a lack of belief in yourself, and you're just going down that lack of confidence route, it can just spin into this web, and you can get stuck in, and you can end up in a really, really damaging place. And it's all because of a lack of control over our minds. That's what I believe so strongly. I feel like majority of things, it literally comes down to the control that we have over our minds. Which is why, just fun fact, the one quote that has saved me time and time again from every mental situation I've got myself in is the quote, "Take control of your mind." It's the one thing that pulls me out of that place every single time. And meditation is a way to take control of your mind. It helps to just sort of reset everything. You view things from a much calmer perspective, a fresher perspective, one that's not biased and clouded with your own thoughts, which have kind of taken over. You know, it just gets so loud and you can't concentrate, you can't think, you can't push them away because they have taken over, like they have commanded their presence over you and you just can't get away from them. Meditation kind of, when you do it regularly, when you're consistent with it, it's a technique that helps you to just hit reset mentally and you can look at things clearly. And in that same way, it can really, really help you to just remove all that negative self-talk and it avoids you getting further and further down that black hole. Number 9. Okay, I really love this one. So, number 9 is all about power posing. If you know, you know. If you don't, you're about to know. So I watched this TED Talk when I was back in school. So this is a long time ago. And it genuinely, I'm not being dramatic, even though I have a tendency to be so, genuinely changed my life. Let me explain what it is. Power posing, side note, if I can find it, I'm going to link the TED Talk in the bio. If you haven't watched it, please. In the bio, in the description. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. It is, it's so valuable. So power posing is all about, it's kind of, it links to the body language thing, but it's tactical, and this one has been like scientifically proven and things like that. Essentially what it is before you go into an exam, an interview, some kind of test, anything which is like makes you kind of feel small, any situation like that. Let's say you're meeting your partner's parents for the first time, even that could work, right? And if you feel really shy and just like, don't look at me kind of thing, if it's a situation like that, go to a private place, like a few minutes before you're in that situation. So you can go into like a toilet cubicle, that's where I've done all of this. And you basically want to hold yourself in power poses. By that, I mean universal positions which are known to hold a lot of like strength and power and success and stuff like that. So classic ones are stuff like this and like proper like exaggerated though. Obviously you're doing this in private, so like it's all good. But exaggerated, like legs, I'm not going to imitate it because you lot are going to screenshot and it's going to be very peak. Like legs wide apart, like literally all out like this, just do the most. Another one is like doing up Superman vibe and just hold it for, I think they say like, I think it's like a minute. And whilst you're holding it, think like the affirmations I started this with, right? So think all the things that you want to, like, let's say you're going into an exam. I've got this, I know this, I'm confident, I'm prepared, I'm ready, I'm going to ace this test, and da-da-da-da-da. Like, whatever it is that's related to your situation, say it to you and just go over and over and over in your head and keep saying it as you're holding this position. Do a couple poses, do that for like, I don't know, spend like 5 minutes if you can. Like, the longer you can, like, you know, the better, innit? So just hold it, do that, and the results are, mwah. It's crazy. It is so effective. I did this before all of my, I think I found it around GCSE time. So maybe my GCSEs, definitely my A-levels. I actually remember, fun fact, I remember being at my sixth form and I went into the toilets and I had said to my friends like, I have to do this thing, I have to do the power posing. And they were like, oh my God. And I was like, what? Like, what? And I was like, honestly, you should do it. They were just taking the piss. And I remember I went into the toilet cubicle, closed the door, got into it, doing what I was doing, and then my friends were like in the cubicles next to me and they like came up and they started like watching me and it was so funny. Off-putting, but so funny. Anyway, I've been doing this. I did this before my driving test, which was a couple months ago. I've done it for every interview, every exam, every test, and it serves me so well. Number 10 is celebrate every accomplishment, no matter how big or how small it is. So whether it's celebrating like a work promotion, something more like, you know, in the traditional sense, something to be celebrated, or even something that other people may seem small, if it's something big to you and holds value to you, celebrate that accomplishment. For example, one of the things that I think I'm not alone in like absolutely hating is, you know when like you're walking down the street or something, yeah, and you're by yourself and there's like a group of guys. It's not a threatening situation, by the way, I should make that clear. When you know it's not like a dangerous situation, if there's like a group of guys, sorry guys, I'm kind of gonna like slate you a little bit now, when there's a group of guys and, you know, you're thinking like, oh, damn, like I have to walk past them. Like, I know you lot know what I'm talking about. And you're like, oh, and you know, you get off your phone or you do whatever you have to do to try and like just get through it. You may even walk a different way to avoid the situation. We all know that can be a very, very intimidating situation to be in. And I don't know about you, but when I'm in a situation like that, my confidence goes down like this. So let's say that's something that you constantly avoid. Let's say whenever you're in that kind of situation, you find a way to avoid it, you go a different way, you cross the street, whatever it is. If that's something that you've overcome, if that's something that you were like, nah, do you know what? I'm going to carry myself well. I know it's not a threatening situation. I'm going to walk past because this is where I need to go. My destination is over there, so I'm going to walk this way and I don't care. And I'm not going to let anyone make me feel a type of way about it. I'm not going to make anyone make me take the long way around. I'm going to go there because I need to go there. And it's their problem. It's up to them what they want to do, what they're going to say, what they're going to think. But I don't care about it because I feel good in myself and I'm confident enough to walk from here to there. When you achieve that thing, if you do that thing or whatever your equivalent of that is, celebrate it. Celebrate that accomplishment. Because when you celebrate yourself, you're showing love to yourself. And when you show love to yourself, you will start to feel more confident in yourself. It's all linked. That's the thing. All these things, self-love, confidence, the self-esteem stuff, like all of it, it's all linked. And when you celebrate all the good bits, more good bits will come. So when you celebrate those accomplishments, those mental barriers that you've pushed past, you're going to start to feel more confident in what you can achieve and what you can do. And you'll be like, nah, do you know what? I am confident because I did that thing. And that was hard for me and I was brave with it. So if I could do that, then I can do this next thing too. And I don't have to feel a type of way about it because I've proven I can do it. So now I'm going to do this next thing and I'm going to be brave about it. I'm going to be courageous and I'm going to carry myself with confidence because you know what? I know that I have confidence because I've done those things. And that point leads me on perfectly to the final point. Number 11 is make a list of all the things you have overcome in your life and that you've achieved. When you're struggling with something mentally, whether it's struggling with the way you view yourself physically, and if that is causing bigger issues in your day-to-day life and your activities and your routine, or if you find yourself in a situation where you're faced with quite a big hardship in life, because we know life likes to throw a lot of curveballs, whatever it is, whatever situation you're in where you are just feeling confidence-wise just subpar, below where you want to be, when you read over that list that you've made of everything that you've overcome in your life, everything that you have been able to push past, you're going to read that and you're going to be reminded of your strength. You're going to be reminded of your bravery and you're going to be reminded of how confident you should be feeling right now because the proof is right there. This is the good thing about it, right? You are tailoring this to yourself and you can't argue with yourself about the fact, I did do that. I did overcome that. I did achieve that. Were any of those things easy? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There are so many things that we've achieved and I can pretty much guarantee none of them were easy. They all had some kind of hiccup, some kind of obstacle that we had to push past. And that right there is proof that you are more capable of things than you realize. And sometimes you just need that boost to remind yourself of the confidence that you already have. Because you have it. You absolutely have it. You just need to believe that you have it. Because like I said, time and time again in this video, confidence is all a mental construct. It's the way you see things. It's the way you see yourself. And you just need to rewire that. And if you look at everything you've achieved in your past and you know that you have done those things because it's right there written down, a list of everything in front of you, how can you not feel confident in yourself? It's going to come with time. It's not going to be overnight. But all these things are going to gradually help you to get to that place that you want to get to in terms of your confidence and your self-esteem. All right, guys, that is the end of this video. I really hope that you enjoyed. I really hope you were able to take something away from this, that you found some sort of value in this. And if you did, please let me know. Drop me a comment, drop me a DM on Instagram. My @ is @DevonAGohill. Let me know what you think. If you guys want more like this, please let me know what kind of topics you want me to talk about. If this sort of like bullet point practical guide was helpful. But anyway, this video is long enough. I'm not gonna drag it out. I really hope that you guys got something from this anyway. I love you guys so much. Stay safe, stay positive, stay smiling, stay confident. I love you, and I will see you next time. Mwah. Bye, guys.